Magi's gang, my name is Majojiba Maji for short. If you are new here, you are welcome to my channel, and if you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. It's always a pleasure to have you here with me again. Group hug. I hope everyone is having a good week so far and you are not letting anyone or anything dim your light. I came across an article that I want to share with you all today. Somebody is making $400,000 approximately in sales from the solution to stinky feet or smelly feet, and the person goes by the name of Matthew Tesvich. So Matthew Tesvich is waging war on smelly feet. That's a very interesting battle to choose to fight. Selling odor preventing socks, which he designed at his startup Skunk Skin. The 23-year-old graduate of the University of Georgia's Terry College of Business recently won Buy It Now, a top show on Amazon Prime Video. He pitched the product to the judges on episode 4 before a live audience after a college friend who had been on Shark Tank mentioned him to the producers, and he auditioned via a video pitch. Tesvich has built his e-commerce business, which he founded in November 2020 in Athens, Georgia, to an expected $350,000 to $400,000 in sales this year, and projects that he is on pace for $1 million in annual revenue by 2025. Let's see how exactly he came about this idea. Tesvich, who played baseball while attending high school in Cumming, Georgia, looked forward to playing at the college level until his arm felt weak one day when pitching. When a doctor ordered an MRI, he learned he had torn his throwing shoulder and injured the other shoulder and an elbow as well. Despite that disappointment, Tesvich saw an opportunity to pursue another passion, entrepreneurship, inspired by Robert Kiyosaki's book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Before reading it, he thought that to become successful, he had to work his way up the corporate ladder like his dad. Reading it changed his perspective, he says. He knew he wanted to get into entrepreneurship. He just didn't think it could be so early. He found his big idea after his roommate brought home an antibacterial towel one day and saw the potential to use the fabric to prevent the pesky problem of foot odor with special socks. He says, "I had stinky feet growing up. My parents always joked about that. I was a joke in the locker room. And so I created an odorless sock out of this towel after doing a year and a half of research and development, and then figured that it wasn't something only I could use, but also millions of people around the country. Allow me to add millions of people around the world, because I know that stinky feet, smelly feet is not just a thing that people struggle with in America. People struggle with that all over the world." Tesvich, however, had a lot of work ahead of him to realize his dream. To manufacture the socks, he needed a prototype. Tapping the inner discipline he built as an athlete, he approached about 100 manufacturers in the area. He says, "I started calling all of the mills in North Carolina. Most either ignored him or they would hang up on him, wouldn't return his voicemail, or wouldn't return his emails." He also adds that some of the manufacturers would actually even price their services out of his reach so that he doesn't bother them anymore, I assume. So he turned to the makers marketplace, Alibaba, to look for a manufacturer using Google Translate to talk with plants in China. I admire his resilience. Like he said, he tapped into his inner discipline, which he built as an athlete. This is why I tell as many people as would want to listen, there is no season in your life that is a waste. Every experience adds up to making you who you are, and every experience can have a positive effect or positive impact on your life in one way or the other. And you can see here year, being an athlete has helped him to be disciplined and have resilience in looking for a manufacturer. So he turned to the makers marketplace, Alibaba, to look for a manufacturer using Google Translate to talk with plants in China. I felt like my back was against the wall, he said. I told them, we are going to put in a big order with you if your product is as high quality as you say it is, but I need you to send me a free sample. Even when he found a manufacturer, getting the prototype right wasn't as easy as it might sound. Some of the prototype makers offered to use a chemical spray rather than the antibacterial fibers to add odor-preventing properties to the socks, but he wanted a more natural and durable option. So he says, I would put it in the washing machine and it wouldn't be effective. And that's about the chemical spray that some of the prototype makers were offering him. So you see, he had the idea of the product he wanted to bring into existence, and now external factors or external people outside of the idea are trying to suggest or give unsolicited alternatives to what he has already got in his mind about what he wants the socks to be, but he didn't accept it. So that's also something that's very important. When you have an idea, you've thought it through, you've seen that it's something that can actually be possible, and you start having people that, even though they might have some sort of experience in the area, but they don't have experience in that exact thing. You really need to do some introspection and make sure that you are still staying true to your original plan or your original idea. Tesvich spent about 18 months getting the prototype right during COVID. So when some of us were chilling during COVID and on lockdown, some other people were brainstorming and bringing out hundreds of $1,000 ideas, which he is on track to make $1 million in revenue in 2025. As the weeks stretched into months, he had to tap his inner reserves to keep going. He says, anytime I felt defeated or demotivated, I kept thinking back to Thomas Edison and light bulb. He kept saying every time he failed and with every iteration, he was one step closer to success. And I knew that whatever I was working on was going to be easier than inventing the light bulb. That's an amazing perspective. Working with his manufacturing partner, Tesvich developed a chemical-free fabric technology to prevent foot odor. When you put on the socks, your skin neutralizes what would have caused bacteria. His company has filed a provisional patent and is seeking a utility patent. As he perfected the product, he turns to athletes at University of Georgia and Clemson University to test the product. He knew he was ready to go to the market when these testers started saying that their teammates wanted a pair too. At that point, he used about $20,000 US dollars, which he had saved over the years while working in sales for a golf course for his first production run. So when you're starting off on a new idea, it's always good to have some money in the bank so that you don't necessarily have to go and borrow money and then the borrower becomes the slave to the lender and all that. So he says, I was confident that this was going to work and I knew myself, like confident that it was going to work, and he knew himself. It's very important to know yourself, build a relationship with yourself, and believe in your abilities. Like, know what you are capable of. Be your biggest fan. Like this is statement. I was confident that this was going to work and I knew myself. I mean, confidence 100. One of his mentors said, you went from being a physical athlete to a mental athlete. And I knew I had made that switch of being a mental athlete and had to figure out how to sell and make it work. He didn't allow the result or the outcome of the MRI scan that he had to make him feel down or feel like his whole career was over, his life was over, there was nothing else that he could do. He found, for lack of a better statement, the light at the end of the tunnel. The tunnel that seemed like his life revolved around being an athlete, but he saw that light the small light at the end that showed him like this antibacterial towel that his roommate brought. You're gonna use this. You're going to be the solution to smelly or stinky feet. One challenge Tesvich faced was a lack of capital. He had no outside investors or lenders, so he got resourceful. While attending University of Georgia, he participated in several business accelerators, programs to nurture budding startups, where he raised about $10,000 in pitch competitions and learned valuable lessons that came in handy in future fundraising. Skunk Skin, his company, went on to raise a total of about $100,000 in a variety of pitch competitions around the country. Country here being the United States of America. Tesvich opted for non-dilutive pitch competitions, which do not require the founders to give up equity in exchange for the prize money. Giving away too much equity can put founders at a disadvantage in fundraising later, and if the startup takes off, leaves them with little to show for their hard work. Matthew reached out to local reporters with his story, and some of the coverage went national. His startup began picking up traction. Selling on Amazon, the company generated about $60,000 in its first year and became cash flow positive after 2 weeks. He says, "We ended up getting a majority of our sales that Christmas season. The sales of the socks brought in about $170,000 in its second year." To learn how to grow the brand, Tesvich planned what was in effect a listening tour, turning to his biggest customers for insight on how to keep improving his products and what aspects to promote. This is about receiving feedback, because all feedback in this case would be important, and he's also open to it. So good or bad, he was taking it all in, and then obviously he would review and decide what would be implemented. He discovered that his top customers who purchased up to 9 pairs of socks each were either mothers of youth athletes or blue-collar workers, such as plumbers and electricians who have to wear boots all day and may have to take off their footwear when entering customers' homes. I flew to see our top 10 customers all around the country and took them out to go get lunch, dinner, or breakfast, and we would sit down for 2, 3, 4 hours. I asked them questions. What do you like about the socks? What do you hate about the socks? What would you like to see? And I would just let them talk. I took extensive notes. So he was open to every kind of feedback, be it good or bad. But obviously, even though he's asking what do you hate about the socks, especially since he's meeting them face to face, I assume that people would give their feedback in a constructive way and not destructive to tear him down. But regardless, he was open to feedback, and that's very important. It's always good to be open to feedback, and just know that sometimes the way you may be expecting people to communicate their feedback may not be how you would receive it. So just keep an open mind and receive it. At the end of the day, you just need to decide what, after you've processed all the information, you need to decide what you will retain and what you will discard. It's as simple as that. Another factor that helped the brand take off was making the most out of partnerships. He teamed up with co-founder Peyton Cranford, a market development specialist, in 2023. He also partnered with TikTok and Instagram influencer Leon Odaiki, who had promoted the socks on social media. Matthew has also hired a bunch of students from University of South Florida who are all eager to learn about e-commerce and digital marketing. These students now fulfill the orders at a storage unit which he rented. This was work he initially did himself until an advisor suggested his time was better spent working on strategy, which makes a lot of sense, because if you can delegate certain things as the idea generator of a business, it's very important, especially all these little tasks here and there, like the order fulfillment. It at least gives you more mental capacity for you to be able to brainstorm and, like they said, work on strategy. So another big win has been a subscription program. While the industry average for repeat customers is about 7 to 7.5%, he says Skunk Skin is seeing about 12% of customers returning thanks to its subscription plan. As he has grown the brand, Matthew has made sure to seek out advisors such as Bob Pickney, director of the University of Georgia Entrepreneurship Program. One thing he learned through baseball was the importance of being coachable. This 23-year-old is smart. This guy is smart. Like, going back to what I said earlier, there is no season in your life that is a waste. Every season would teach you one thing or the other. Like he said, one thing he learned through baseball was the importance of being coachable. He grasped the concept that he doesn't know everything, and there would always be someone, or there is someone out there that can help him remain on track or find the right path in certain areas where he's blind. He says, I'm a 23-year-old and I feel like every time I'm making a decision, I am making a blind right turn because I've never done this before. A lot of this stuff is very new to me. Being able to lean on people who have been there and done that is almost like being able to see in the dark. Another key advisor is Brian Fasulo, an executive producer, scriptwriter, and founder at the omni-channel marketing agency Blue Water TV in Tampa. Fasulo has been a mentor to Tess Fitch, who was introduced to him by a mutual friend. Very important to have good friends. Blue Water acquired Amazon Marketplace top seller, a digital direct-to-consumer channel, in 2017 and was instrumental in the growth of brands such as SodaStream. For those people that like to drink fizzy water, I'm sure you know what SodaStream is. What makes Matthew so special is that he's so kind, appreciative, and genuine, says Fasulo. That will get you everywhere. For young people willing to admit they don't know what they don't know, find someone and ask. It's everything. With the help of his advisors, Tesvich now intends to keep building his brand. He takes inspiration from the customers who have shared stories of how the socks have helped them. Okay fam, that's all for this video. I hope you found this video brainstorming. I hope it's making you gain perspective of your life, like of different areas of life. I know you may think sometimes, because I do myself, you may think that some things that you have experienced, some phases of life that you thought would be more permanent, for lack of a better word or lack of better words, you thought those phases would be more permanent, but they seem to have just gone. You feel like it was all a waste. I hope this gives you perspective and helps you remember continuously that there is no experience in life that is a waste. I will see you all in my next video, but until then, stay blessed and remember, God loves you. Bye.